What is going on YouTube? Hannah back making another brand new crypto TV episode. In today's video, we are going to be looking at XRP, Ethereum, Bitcoin, Litecoin, as well as the S&P 500 if we have time. As you guys know, we do a different crypto here on the channel every single week with your guys' help. So definitely comment your favorite altcoin down below and pick one so we can review it for next week's videos. More importantly, what we're going to be looking at in today's episode, and I know it's getting boring for most crypto traders out there, not necessarily for me and hopefully you guys that are really dedicated to crypto TV, but we're starting to see markets lack liquidity and lack volume for the most part, and most of these major cryptocurrencies aren't seeing much of a movement at all. And obviously when markets slow down and markets trade sideways, people lose interest and they find other things to invest into. So I mean, for those that are still waiting patiently, those are going to be the ones that are going to be rewarded first. So just bear with us as we will pick up on the new trends and new signs earlier than most of the people that are just, looking at the next big social media post out there. More importantly, if you guys are new to the channel, definitely make sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications, smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm, and let's jump into today's episode. So guys, unfortunately, what is it that we're going to be talking about in today's video? We're going to be talking about the consolidation that is still taking place over most of the major cryptocurrencies right now. As you guys can see, we're really not moving at all in regards to the entire day movement. It's only up about 0.3%, which really isn't anything significant. You can see top 10 cryptos, everything is pretty much down except for Doge, which is actually seeing about a 4% run to the upside. But most everything over the course of a week is down 20 to 30% overall, which is not good if you ask me in regards to seeing prices pump up higher. Now the real issue with it is people are starting to lose interest. Once we had that first initial sell-off, media isn't really talking about it. We're having a lot of the major influencers in the space talk negatively. And if you also notice, all of the crypto YouTubers out there are starting to pump out bearish videos, which is true. I mean, bearish videos is still a good sign for people to trade and make money. We've made plenty of money in this bear market already, thousands and thousands of dollars just by shorting crypto, but most of the people that are trading on Coinbase and stuff like that don't have that luxury of doing so. So volume is leaving and they're just selling off and taking their profits. They're not really getting ready to trade. So volume obviously slows down. Now, if you look at this, you can see this is basically the exchange trade volume over the past, I would say, 180 days that we have right now. And you can just see that over the course of like a month, we've pretty much substantially dropped the amount of volume we've had. And I just think it's very unlikely that we're going to see another major flare in volume for quite some time now. You can see the last time we were really seeing major volume come into the market was pretty much all of May. That was still a really good month. But since June came around, markets really started to slow down. And you can see in June, volume has pretty much just died off to the point that we're only seeing like 350 $1 million being traded around on any given day. I mean, sometimes we have big flares, but it's usually in reference to sell-offs. But ultimately, we are starting to form a bearish trajectory, and we are starting to head lower. So how exactly are we going to be, navigating this market? Obviously, if we look at, let's say, Bitcoin, and we'll go to XRP in a minute. But as we know, it's currently June, and volume is slowly dying off. For reference, I just want to pull up 2017, 2018, and kind of show you guys what June looked like. It's very interesting if you ask me. If we slowly move into June right here, you can see June was the month where things were okay. It was actually July and moving forward after that where markets started to kind of veer downwards. So we are having a fairly early approach to things, but you can see for the most part it is a very similar chart where we did see a double top formation and then an immediate correction to the downside. So it's very similar. It's a very similar pattern to what we've seen back, in 4 years ago to what's happening now. You can see the volume, caps right here and tops off, and then we start to correct lower. There is a downtrend you can kind of make out. It is a symmetrical triangle here. You can see this is clearly the top resistance and this is clearly the bottom support level, and they do ultimately lead to some point of contact in the middle here where we ultimately broke bearish. But moving forward now, you can see we did have a fairly similar double top formation on these cryptos right around March into May, and then we started to correct lower. So is it still possible realistically for us to see another flare of volume? Yeah, I don't see why not. If this is in reference to the top moving downwards, we could see moving forward, another big flare that would ultimately set us to maybe 43,000. And then just continuing our bearish trend to the downside. So are we out of the woods yet? Are we still in a bear market? Yeah, I'd like to confirm that we are. And we are still going to be seeing some lower moves. Yeah, there is this possibility of seeing a sporadic jump back to retesting the top resistance, creating another lower high. But all that's doing is confirming more corrections to the downside. Now, would I buy in? Is there a reference to buy in at? I wouldn't. Ultimately, because we've now consolidated out so much so that when we do come back to maybe retest $40,000 and we close above there, there's not much room from 40,000 to 43,000. And that's really the highest I can potentially see Bitcoin moving to. Ultimately, we do have that support at 30K, and we know for a fact that the second we see confirmation of a break below 30K, that's the opportunity to buy in at. As you can see, there's really not much support levels between $30,000 and $20,000. So the second we see confirmation of a break below that top support or that bottom support, it's probably going to be a very quick ride back down to the downside, and that's a good opportunity to short. So I'm waiting more so for 30K to be broken to short it than I am for us to retest top resistance. Although if we do climb back up and retest resistance here, creating a new lower high, you can see we'll have one, we'll have two, and this would hopefully confirm a third. It would be enough for us to actually short the market at this level, anticipating it to correct lower. So there are plenty of opportunities there for shorting, not necessarily buying in and leveraging it to the upside. So shorting it to the downside is really where my mindset is at. Currently, a lot of the big support levels and the big indicators and technical indicators are leaning towards that bearish side. We're having bearish crosses across most of the cryptocurrencies, and it's not even just Bitcoin. You can see XRP2 doesn't necessarily look too good. Although we are now no longer oversold, all it's doing is just giving us more volume and more space to eventually start to climb back lower. So things are not necessarily looking good, and I just want to update you guys on this because a lot of people are going to think, okay, it's time for the next rally back up. Like, investments are fine, let's move back to the upside. Ultimately, there is still downtrends forming on XRP and some of these major cryptos, and I do truthfully believe we're probably going to scale us back down to 26%. Overall, I think by the time we recover from this market, we'll be at least 80% in the hole. So I do believe an 80% correction overall is what's coming, and we've only moved about 50% so far, if that. We've moved, no, this is actually 72. So XRP doesn't look too bad, but for Bitcoin, if we scale Bitcoin's movement, you can see it's really not that. The lowest it's gone is 55%. So I'm more so anticipating Bitcoin to show the leading correction than XRP is, because XRP has actually had even bigger drops to the downside. You can see that I can't really base reference off of this. I'm basing it off of Bitcoin. This had a drop of freaking 90%. It's actually very possible we could see a 90% drop on XRP too. That would ultimately send the price of XRP from its 70% drop to 90, which would be very close to being 24 cents. So we're going to be retesting some all-time lows that we haven't seen in a very long time, and I do believe they're coming very soon. What's the next buy-in opportunity for XRP? It seems like we've already shown and flashed signs of correction to the downside. You can see the second we confirm break below this uptrend here, not only for XRP, but pretty much all these cryptos that have flashed a bearish correction below its uptrend here are all signaling lower movements, but they ultimately pulled us back down into an oversold market on the RSI for the daily. So I do believe that the small consolidation that we're having now is just a temporary, splurge of volume that will ultimately consolidate out and then correct lower once we retest the top resistances again. So I do believe, for the most part, majority of these cryptocurrencies are going to correct lower. And there is going to be some pretty big short opportunities moving, in our presence very soon. So even for Ethereum, the fact that it broke through its uptrend, causing a descending fractal to form, and kind of following this fairly well, actually. We can even zoom in on the 4 hour. You can kind of see that we're trading fairly okay, but we are in a descending fractal here. There's a good chance we're going to correct lower. Most of these cryptos are going to do so. You can see when you compare things to like its weekly, how overbought we are still compared to where we used to be. You can see right now we are still only trading at 50, and we are still very much so far away from our moving averages. Just big opportunities as long-term progression happens. We are going to see corrections back down to these moving average. At one point or another, we do come back to retest our moving average as a form of support and just a neutral playing field. So anticipate more jumps to the downside. It's unfortunate that markets are getting slow and stagnant, but these are opening up better doors to getting involved in for trading and leveraging. As you guys know, we like to use Bityard, and this is just a great way to practice in the meantime. For those that don't know, by signing up with Bityard that I linked in the description as well as in the comments, it does start you off with $100,000 to trade around with. And I've just been practicing here and there on this account and some of my other Bityard accounts to just leverage trade cryptocurrency and just learn and practice my skills on just trading in markets even like this to just constantly, perfect my craft. So you guys are more than welcome to do so. I highly recommend it. There's no risk involved with using Bityard, especially on the demo account. When you're using a demo account, you're not playing with your own money. This is just, play money per se, monopoly money that you can just trade around with. Nothing on the website actually changes. Notice that. Only the balance changes. So you can actually leverage trade any of the cryptocurrencies or forex currencies or commodities, and then just practice your skills. If you anticipate a correction to the downside, short the market. You can leverage trade, you can create your margin, and just practice playing around on it. So I recommend doing so, and then when you're ready, we can switch over to doing it for the real thing and actually making some money to withdraw out of the exchange. So that's pretty much my goal here, and hopefully you guys understand that, but that's pretty much the pattern that we have playing out right now. The S&P 500 is looking great, finally heading back up. This is another all-time high for the market. I mean, it's been insane. I remember just a few months ago, we were like here, guys. I mean, I remember the double bottom, and I bought back in right here at 35. We're already at 42, so we just keep pumping higher, man. It's pretty insane overall if you look at it, but I mean, we can go back way before COVID happened, and it's been kind of the same pattern where prices have just every day went higher and higher and higher and higher. And ultimately, yes, we do have some reversals that allows us to trade up even higher, but for the most part, we're just going to continue to pump on up. So, stay tuned for the ride, guys. Hopefully we have some volume in the next couple of days, but definitely make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Peace.